So I've pre-cut out one piece of A4 and it's created these three different pieces, sorry. Now at this moment in time, I'm not really inclined to the line work that I did before. I'm kind of inclined to working with ink. So I'm presuming a lot right now. I'm presuming that you've protected your surface. And I'm also presuming that you know a little bit about colors, or at least about what happens when you put two colors together. So this is a really cool material. It's called Ecolina. So it's watercolor ink. And it just creates a really beautiful, bright, vibrant color. So this technique here is called wet and dry. So the paper is completely dry. And then I'm gonna add some water to it around the edges. Oh, I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things to do. It's like creating a little border like that. And then you bring the water in a little bit closer. Hello, water. Oh, I love it. And then you splodge. And you bring it a little bit closer, and then it just explodes everywhere. I love it. It is really a source of joy for me. Get there, wow. I just love it. As you can hear, the sound effects are all part of it. Now, with the red, I know that if I add blue, it's going to create purple. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue in certain places, not everywhere, because it will darken my work as well. Get down with that. Isn't that awesome? Oh, not too much. Now, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do wet in wet. So that calls for the page to be completely wet. And instead of using my Ecolina, which creates that real vibrant colour, I'm going to grab some watercolours. And so these are just bog standard watercolours. Nothing special. So we're going to do the same kind of colour scheme, because I do love red and blue as a background kind of thing. And we're just going to try and create that kind of watery feel to it. So here we're going to just bring that red from the top. There. So yeah. So for you that's the bottom. I don't know anymore. And then the thing about it is that you've got to get a decent amount of colour in order to get an effect, but you don't want to overload it either, because you won't get the movement that you want. And then adding more water in between to get some watery effects. I don't know if that's coming out very well. If I move it closer and move. It's not coming out as well, but yeah. So what we're doing right now is creating a background effect. And then this is going to be where we do some more work on. So we'll do some writing on here and then be able to finish up the card. And so from here I'd possibly do the line drawings actually now, thinking about it. I wasn't going to. But now I'm looking at it, I'm going, I'm quite inspired by this. What would I do next? And that's what you want to do. You can either work with a very particular idea of what you want to create. So sometimes I'll sit there and I go, all right, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to create this specific picture. I want to create a picture of a person who looks as if they are thinking, and that's what it will be. Or I want to create a montage of photos and create a little book effect and that's what I want it to be. Or it could be like now where I'm going, I just want to have a little see what will happen and take it from there. So, oh, look how that's moving down now. It's sticking to the table and it's pulling the colour in a different way. It will not dry that way. It'll dry very differently, but it'll be really cool to see how it dries. So those are those two. And we've created that kind of background to it. At the minute, this geometric, yeah, it is geometric. This geometric thing is really popular. So I would suggest that we create a geometric scribble drawing. So I love drawing, I've boxed myself into a corner. I'm left-handed and I've gone from left to right. Doesn't matter. We're going to create a geometric scribble drawing. So we do some lines going this way. So we'll do 2 lines going that way, and we'll go 2 lines going that way, and 2 lines going that way, and 2 lines going that way. So we've created a kind of pattern that we can then colour in. And so then we just colour in. And the thing about grey is it's not as harsh as black. Black creates quite a harsh outline for your drawings, and that creates a particular feeling for the eye. So whatever happens inside, the contrast to the colours will always come out as quite striking and quite stark. And it might not be that that's what you want to do, if that might not be your intention. So by using grey, you kind of soften the whole thing a little bit. You could also just decide to do monotone. So you could choose black and then white and then one colour, which is really cool. Well, what we're doing at the minute is creating a bit of a background. And this could then, you could decide that when this dries, it could just become the background to your card. And then on the other side, you're going to do a certain drawing. So for instance, I'm going to do this one, use this one as the example because those are very wet. So let's say that that one is the background that I've created for it. So on the flip side, as you see, there's a little bit of colour that's come through. You can decide if that's what you want to have. Now, when you do these kinds of things, you might decide that you want to be a bit fancy about how you draw your date. So you always have to make sure you date your card. If it is going to be a kind of a journal edition. And then I personally would go for these kind of inspirational quotes ideas. And I would say, figure out a word that sums up your day. So for me today, I would have to say the word for me today is sunshine, because it has been such a beautiful day. And then you could add to it. So for me, I would add my little, I'm inspired right now to do my little line drawing person. So she's quite, I think she feels really open about, yeah, she feels definitely open about the sun, about that sunshine today. So that's how I would kind of sum up today. And then another thing to do is, so you've got that summing up statement, your picture. You kind of want to ground your picture into something, into space. And I would say, and that kind of gives you that feeling of or what could be the heaviness of your day, what could be the more negative stuff that you don't really want to focus on, but it's still there, you can't ignore it. So the big thing for me today is that it's feeling a bit messy. So the ground underneath me can feel, it's pretty solid, but I do feel that there's a little bit of chaos right there, and it's that fear and the worries about what we're going through right now. So yes, there's the sunshine, but underneath there is that little bit of the fear, and by combining the two, you're giving that depth in a very small space. So that's combining together quite nicely with my date. I'm feeling that up here, I'm seeing these shadows from my other side. I don't know if you can pick that up in the camera, on the camera. But what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to shadow those from behind, from the other side of the picture. Actually, that works really, really nicely. It does. And there's another one right there, like a little shape. Wow, that's really adding some nice detail to it. You see how that just makes it a little bit more detailed? It brings in those lovely geometric shapes from the other side. Oh my gosh, that's really cool. I like it. And you see how you can just work through it and play with it. And this size, very quickly, I can finish what I'm doing. And you can add that into your journal that you have from school or you need for your work, or you just have for yourself, and you can just add to it and supplement what you're doing. These cards right here, I could say, well, I'll date them for today, but it could be that I end up working on them tomorrow. So what I would do then is add today's date and tomorrow's date, because if you don't have the two dates together, you're not going to understand that. It will feel a bit disjointed how your feeling goes from one thing to another. And it's important to add the dates of both days, just so that you can connect with those two feelings that you have right there. So I'm going to do another bit on that tomorrow, so we can work in it tomorrow and you can see how it dries up, because I love that ink. It's just such a beautiful thing to have, watercolor ink. It stains like crazy though, so just watch out, and you will see that right now I'm resisting the urge to wear gloves, but I normally wear gloves when I'm working because I can't stand it. I don't like getting stained hands, otherwise my hands would be permanently stained from everything. So there we are. So the art cards, they're a lovely thing to do, and I hope you enjoy it.